Good afternoon. It's 4/4/2024. What a day on ES. Arms of Orion, composite operator trading systems. Wow. We salivate when we see setups like this. And we didn't get a whole lot this morning. We really didn't. As we go later in the week, I've been taking a little bit time, especially as the weather's getting better and it's getting lighter earlier. And we've had a really good run so far this year. I have not been trading as early as I used to. I've kind of been, quite honestly, not really starting to look at the charts until right around 7:30. So that's when the news was released, and we kind of watched that play out here this morning. And then on the open, we didn't get a whole lot. And then, I think we had one trade in the open that wasn't that great. And then I think we had a couple little scalpies through here. But the market this is, to me, is flat. This is not a whole lot going on. We're looking at the 5-minute chart right now. And we kind of just came down into our 55 EMA here. And then we got our bounce. And this was a much better trading through here for us. Kind of more prepared for potential retrace back to the highs, especially with the way everything was setting up. But what I was looking at was right here. I'm like, okay, let's see if this thing goes. We knew this started to come up. We were getting the signaling from our double RSI strat. And I got this chart kind of wonky right now. We got the double bottom down here for the pull. Once this thing comes down, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the double RSI not in this video, but there's certain signaling that you look for and how we've developed some of this. So anyways, we got the bottom. We got everything we saw we needed. We got the 55. We got a buy signal. This thing was still above the zero line, so we have an improving histo. And we said, in my mind, I'm going, okay, let's see where this thing runs to, because this has to really push up into these levels if this does not want to diverge. And this is what we look for constantly. I'm always looking at, these play out, especially on the 3-minute chart and the 5-minute chart. And this was showing, a diversion was showing up on all the time frames. So, from the 1 minute all the way up. I think the 1 minute. I don't remember now. Let me look. Yeah, we diverged right here. Boom. And again, it took a little longer to play out, but the beauty of the 1-minute chart was that you got the zero line cross. Just perfect. I'll go back to the 5. Wow, this thing's still coming down, man. Look at that. Went right through. Rejected the pivot, and it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 pivots. Whew. Amazing. And I stopped trading this. My last trades were right through here. I traded this down into my level right here at 40, actually 42.50 or 42-ish level. And then I just stopped. I just closed out because this was an incredible afternoon run. We were trading heavy too. We were trading 10, 15 contracts. And the thing you got a good entry, man. And it did, it was a little nerve wracking because it did go against us, and I didn't put any stop losses in, or I didn't put any hard stops in on this one. And, it did go against me a little bit, but I didn't have to wait hardly at all. So I took a little bit of heat on the first big banger, and then I was just scalping the rest of the way down. And I know on these sometimes when it wants to go, it starts to go. And that you just have to be patient. So right here, when this started to cross, I'm over here waiting, going, okay, everything is still in play. We're getting the zero line cross. We're getting massive bearishness. It just started to come in here. But once this thing started to rip, very quickly, it just started tagging level to level. This was the only pullback area, so we got the break of the pivot, retest, break, break, retest, break, up, retest, break. When these start cascading and they come up into, they'll retrace into the key levels and then they'll break down. And you saw it. Look at perfect, perfect signal, sell signal, perfect sell signal, perfect sell signal, all perfect sell signals reset on the RSI, on the RSI, fast moving RSI. Sorry, I'm getting off topic a little bit here, but anyways, you can see like once this thing started to go, and then when you get the zero line cross on that with velocity, which we got, I mean, you'd already see here, like this was already getting bearish. And we also had like I mean, if you want to call it, I mean, some people are like, oh, I wouldn't look at that as anything. Okay, well, we had highs over here. It did make a new high, and it couldn't continue on. So once this thing came into play too, and we made another new high, you can bet your bottom dollar that I'm looking for a short setup. You can see here another divergence over here, and it plays out. I mean, it takes, again, sometimes these on the higher time frames, it takes a little bit for them to play out. So then we get the zero line cross, and a lot of times, man, when you get a divergence with this coming down to the zero line cross, and like here we got our 55 crossing under the 200 EMA. Wow. And you kind of had this same setup here happen, but I mean, obviously it's a lagging. Sometimes, you know, it's a little more, you know, pronounced. You get it in here and it pulls down, and then it comes back up to test that 55, and then it goes. But this thing just came off with just absolute viciousness. So just absolutely beautiful. I love bearish divergences more than any other divergence, especially on these MACDs, because of just the absolute viciousness that generally bearish divergences go. I mean, they really, in my, like how I'm a more short bias trader anyways most of the time, but like when these things really want to rip, man, they absolutely rip. Just amazing. So let's go over to the 2-hour chart here too. So the 2-hour chart was already kind of telling us that this thing was getting to an oversold mark here. We had like a triple top on the RSI here, the fast moving RSI. And what happens on these is like your signal line, which is just a moving average, when it starts to approach these levels up here, the 94 level and like the 4, like we already came down hard, but like when you see this come, like that moving average, quote unquote signal line, start to approach these like hardcore oversold levels, you can start to see the push. You know, this was a kind of a dead day. It didn't happen. You know, we didn't get a huge run on that. But when this thing starts to continue to push up, and you get this line, you get the line over, especially on these higher time frames, line over. You know, push, big push, stays overbought, and these can stay overbought. And then it, you know, once it comes up to tag those lines, again, there's so many things screaming at us over, like this is the faster moving line, slow mover. This is a different type of MACD than what I run on the lower time frames, but like, this one is a far more faster responding MACD. So when you do get stuff like this happen, and you get these like, you know, that's how I could tell this was like, it was bound for a pullback. So just absolutely amazed. Like all of this stuff was red alarming me. And you can see like, look at that volume that came in. That's a lot of volume on a big ass wick. And we're still making new lows. 52.21. Holy cats. Look at this thing, just still pushing. So now we've breached this. Pivot here now too. So I don't have any more levels set up. A lot of them probably got erased. I just, the chart can get too crazy sometimes when you have all these levels on. So what I do is kind of like look for where this retrace might be coming back in off of previous levels, and some levels further to the left. But holy cow. And again, we're at the very near highs of the market. So like you have to be, it's just a matter of, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you're going to get these yanks like this. And like if you can be patient and wait for these divergences setups, and especially when you see them like this intraday setup here, amazing, just amazing. We got it on the 3-minute as well. We had it on the 2-minute. Like it was just like, I mean, to me it was just a red siren just flashing in my face. Like this thing's gonna poo. So yeah, that's about all I wanted to say about the divergences. Especially the MACD, because they're so powerful, and I've talked about this so much in the past. I've talked about so many times in the past about MACD divergences playing out and like, having this stuff on one's chart. I mean, we still got an hour left here. Wouldn't it be something if this thing bounced? Excuse me. Just had a yawn there. But, I mean, I've got to say, today was, I was hoping that this would play out. Did I think this kind of, you don't know what kind of viciousness that they'll fall off on. But like, man, I tell you what, like these types of setups, you can find them. I mean, you can see, where they're, where these love to just play out. And again, you don't always have them with the viciousness, but you had one right here. Here's another one. I mean, you could call this one, because that played out, but then it made a new high, but then you're looking at this one going, oh. And then you had a little divergence right here. And I mean, again, they don't always like play out like, craziness. But like, you had another one right here. And that was a really nice trade, man. That fell off really, really nice. It's a 20-point drop off right there. And I'm sure I'm missing bullish divergences in here. My mind, for whatever reason, doesn't pick up the bullish divergences as much. I don't know why. But they don't have, like I said, a lot of times they don't have the viciousness as like a bearish one would have. For some reason, my brain can just pick up the bearish divergences like nobody's business. I can just see them like that. Where, like I said, I'm not always as good with like a bullish, but I think this is a bullish divergence right here. And I'm sure I could download something that would tell me or kind of maybe point them out, but I think I can't tell. Maybe it's not. But I just look for bearish ones. More so than I look for anything else. What is this one? This one might have been one right here. This one looks like one, yeah. Because see how that, like, I have to look for these a little bit harder. So that one's like there, and then you have, you know, the price over here. You know, boom, boom. So it kind of looks like a, you know, one is doing prices like that's your price, and then there's your MACD doing that. So that's like your, you know, your bearish, and like your bullish would be, or your that's your bullish, and your bearish would be something like this. Especially, I'm assuming everyone knows bearish and bullish divergence, but some of you may not. So, anyways, man, wow, just wow. I don't even know what to say, really. It was just such a... Like I said, you don't always get them, but when they arrive, man, like that, and when they set up like that, they are just absolute bangers. You know, like here's one too, but it didn't really have a lot of oomph. Yeah, do you see that? Like this is where one I would be waiting on it, and it never really comes to fruition. Right? And this one's far more pronounced. You know, with the high, and it never really does a whole lot. So, anyways, here's a nice one. This one was really good. It's another one. I mean, and these, like I said, you got to be having your chart set up for it. So you can see there's the high, and like we get this new high, and you get a divergence back over here. So they can play out longer than this, like this one too. Like here's another one. Got another little one here, and it does play out. I mean, it's not huge, but it plays. So they, you know, you're always, you know, that those trades work. Had another, looks like this was a bullish one right here. It's a really nice bullish one to the upside. See, and here's another one, but it doesn't really play out. Again, it doesn't really work, unfortunately. But this one does. Right? So this one doesn't work out, but this one works out. And some people would like, oh, that's, you know, okay, well, I'm just showing you how I use them. And I'm sure I played some of these. I can guarantee I played some of these. Like I said, I play mainly the bearish ones. So here's like a triple almost. You can see that one doesn't quite play out because we're in just a raging uptrend. But this one plays out. Like you exhaust even further, and then you do get a nice yank to the downside. So, anyways, you want to be looking for it. They play out more so in like on a 5 minute, 3 minute. They do play out on the 1 minute time frames as well. Don't get me wrong. So, I'm always looking for divergences on MACDs. So. It's a big part of my overall strategy, regardless of what, like this is my, you know, let me just get back to the current present day here. thing is just went all the way to 16. Amazing. What was the freaking move on this? 45-point move. Well, it's down 45. I don't know. It's probably, I don't know, whatever that is, from 30, 53. Yeah, we hit 53.08 all the way down to 52.16. Man. So anyways, this thing's already 20 minutes long. But again, I look at them regardless of the strategy I'm trading. You know, if I'm on my double RSI strat, or if I'm going to shrink this down for now. Whoops. I don't want to do that. But like, I just, man. These are, when they play out like this, I know I've said this a bunch already, but when these things play out like this, I mean, you don't know when they're going to play out like that. You can just try to, get a good entry and let's see if it's going to go. But like I said, when you're at market highs, I mean, we're not at the all-time high, but like we hit 53.08. We're pretty far up. And we've had no significant pullbacks of any real sort. So like at some point you can see, especially if this market is peaking and we start to go into a downtrend on this market, I mean, you're going to see more like this. I got to get better, like I said, at identifying my bullish divergences, but keep an eye out for them.